Today we're tackling part 3 of the Tomos Nitro 50 scooter restoration. We're going to do a valve check, we're going to lash the valves, we're also going to do a compression check, and we're going to start pulling the engine apart. I'm your host Chaos Dubs, this is the Chaos Bikes channel. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so we're going to remove the head, and first we have to remove, or we're going to remove the valve cover I should say. First we're going to have to remove this exhaust valve thingy here, and it looks like these bolts are pretty rusted and seized on, but we're going to give it a try and see what happens. You're going to need a extra long 10 like that guy. We'll go through here and access these bolts. Not too bad, that came off alright. And then we're going to need a number 8, something a little more manageable to get in there.
Hopefully it has enough torque on it.
Next, we're going to have to undo these bolts here for the valve cover. We're going to need a super long pen. Alright, now that we've got the valves exposed, we can check with the lashing tool and see how close we are. Oh, but first, of course, we need to open up the side crankcase to make sure that we're at top dead center. You'll see on the crank, on the bell here, there's T and F, there's your timing mark and where it fires. We're not lined up yet, which means we need to go another rotation. So we're lining it up with this tick right here. The timing mark is lined up, and now we're at top dead center. Pull out your 0.005 of an inch feeler gauge. We take this feeler gauge and see if we can fit it in there, which we cannot. Let's try 0.004. It appears the valves are not lashed correctly at all. So we should be able to adjust these no problem. with a 9mm. Go ahead and loosen that off. Perfect. Now we got to try and get in there and get that bottom one handled. That valve there is also lashed incorrectly. Alright, now we've got the valves lashed, and we've also got the tank repaired. We've got the vacuum hose repaired. We're going to try a compression test here once I put the valve cover back on. Actually, we might not even need to put it back on, but we need to do a compression test here and see if we now have compression since doing the valves, because they were totally adjusted wrong. We're going to use a compression tester. We're going to get in there. Alright, so to do the compression check, we're going to put the key in the ignition after plugging it in here. And then the battery's dead, so we have to plug it in. Then you got to hit the brake and then open the throttle all the way and press the starter button. And as you can see, we still have less than 50 psi compression, which means this needs a top end rebuild. Alright, so we found that there's little to no compression. We're under 50. And we need to solve the problem. So what's the plan? Well, we're going to pull all this apart. We're already part of the way there. And we're going to rebuild the top end with a new one. So I ordered my new top end from scootertuning.ca. They had everything in stock, and it's going to be a stock top end. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the boots here and take the carb off, and then we're going to remove this intake, and we're going to remove the shroud, and we're going to remove the top end basically. So let's get to it. Now that we've loosened those two boots, we also need to remove this nut here. And the nut on the other side has to be loosened off as well. Once you unscrew this all the way here, you'll be able to pop your throttle out. And boom. Now there's your throttle cable. A lot of this stuff's going to be in the way as we go through here. Now that that's disconnected, you can disconnect the fuel input. And we can pull off the air box. There we go. To disconnect. Oh, we can leave that one attached. Okay. And then what is this? So that's connected. This green and yellow wire. This harness here. Wow, it just shattered with a little bit of pressure. And we'll be saving that for later. We're gonna clean it up. See, there's some rust in there. It looks really bad. We're gonna have to definitely clear that up and make it run. But that'll be for another video. Now, to remove this shroud, it looks like there's 2 bolts of the 8mm variety. We'll get in there with this little guy. Now it looks like this case is going to split in half vertically. This plastic casing here. Make sure to keep those separate. There we go. There's the top shroud. And they sure make you work for it. Holy. Getting that exhaust off is going to be fun too. Those bolts are barely on there. Wow, them are some long nuts. Now we're going to pull the other side of the exhaust off with the 12. Just right here, there's 2 bolts. And once we pull these out, this exhaust is going to come right off. Because this is all rusty here, that's going to get probably sandblasted and cleaned up there. As you can see here, the compression checker is still attached, so we're going to have to remove that before we go any further. Of course, it's coming apart on me. Oh, come on, come on. Got it. If you enjoyed this video or found it informative or helpful or entertaining, please leave me a like. If you didn't, leave me a dislike. I can still see them. Until then, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 4. Videos in this series will be releasing Fridays and Sundays. Catch you in the next one.